Hello, my name is Wafda. Today I'll be presenting about my research. The title of research is Together but Alone. I was not surrounded by people I could reach, but I was physically with others, in classroom, in the lab, in the city, yet relationally alone. And AI is the reason, not because it seduced me, but because it quietly made reaching for humans feels unnecessary. So I came here to Korea is for study, and I cannot read a single line of Hangul. So most international students come for the cultures, the language, the K-pop, as you may know. But I came here for none of it. I came because the door opened. Previously, I failed to secure the scholarship from my government 3 times. So I had imagined myself at other university in other countries which speak English. However, because I could not secure that, I'm now studying to find another option. And then one professor in Seoul National University accepted me with all my limitations. And after that, I didn't think twice. Even though I cannot speak or read Korean at all, I went to the door where it's open. AI did not fail me. It succeeded just enough to make human connection feel structurally unnecessary. So this autoethnography examines AI not as a companion and not even really as a tools, but as infrastructures of survival. The thing I move through soul inside of. In this research, I ask 3 questions. First, how does AI mediate my competence, my ability to actually function as someone who cannot speak the language? Second, how does AI's constant availability reduce my need to reach toward other people? And what does that withdrawal actually look like day by day? And third, the one that cuts deepest. When AI handles enough for me to survive but not enough to belong, what do I lose? So I want to name my key term now and return to it later. The key is social friction, the small, awkward, effortful moments of having to turn to another human to ask. To make sense of this, I lean on two thinkers. First is post-phenomenology from Don Ide. So his central claim is that technology is never neutral. It is not just an object in your hand. Sometimes it stands across from you in the very position where another person would stand. Ide called this a quasi-other. And this other one is Victor Turner and his concept of liminality. Victor Turner describes the liminal person as betwixt and between, stripped of their old status, not yet holding a new one, still suspended. The transient foreigner is a textbook's liminal figure, no longer of home, but not yet of the host country. But here's the part that matters. For Turner, liminality is supposed to be a passage. You go through it. And on the other side is what he calls communitas, a real bond, a belonging formed with others who cross alongside you. So liminality is meant to end in communitas. So Don Ide says technology mediates the relationship between human and the world, and he maps 4 ways it can do that. So if you look at the table, I will be quick with two and dwell on two. First is there's embodiment. The tools become part of your body. For instance, glasses on your faces. And also the other relationship is background. Technology you stop noticing, like the home of refrigerator or the electrical systems around us. Those two were my experience. So my experience is focusing of two relations. First is the hermeneutic relation, where technology doesn't extend your body, but it presents the word to you to be read. The way a thermometer turns your body heat into a number you can interpret. That's the example. In my life, the unreadable word was the Korean language itself, like every announcement, every slide, every menu. And AI was the instrument I read it through. The second is the alterity relation, where technology becomes a quasi-others, an interlocutor you address as if it were another being. I would ask AI what my lab's mates KakaoTalk message mean, how I should reply, what I was culturally missing. I spoke to AI and I acted on what AI told me. Now here is the mechanism that everything turns on. So if it says every act of mediation amplifies something and reduces something simultaneously, not one and then the other in the same single act, and there's a cruel asymmetry. The amplification is usually loud and dramatic. You notice everything that technology suddenly lets you do. However, on the other hand, the reduction is usually quiet. It is easy to overlook what has quietly become unnecessary. For me, the amplification was obvious, so AI extended my ability to read here on the liminality. So remember, the liminal phase is meant to be temporary, right? A threshold you cross, and crossing it, pushing through the awkwardness, dependence, the shared struggle with others, is exactly how communitas form. You belong because you struggle together. But my in between never dissolved into belonging. It hardened into a way of life, a waiting room I never felt. And here is the precise loss of technology. AI did not place me in permanent liminality, but AI helped sustain it. AI absorbed the very friction that would have forced me toward other people, the struggle that would have built the bond by making the threshold comfortable. Now, it removed my reason to cross it. So I would like to briefly on method. So this is an analytical autoethnography. In data are two paired sources. First is my digital field notes I kept in motion, and my safe AI chat logs for each scene. I said what I felt at the time besides what I actually asked the machine. The field notes give the emotion, the logs give the evidence. My positionality saves all of it, so let me name it plainly. I cannot speak or read Korean. I'm a Muslim, I'm a minority here, and I'm transient, which is a student just passing through. Caroline Ellis argues that deepening your understanding of your own story can sometimes move things faster than trying to change the large structures directly. So let's go to the findings. The waterline, if you see on the pictures, divide what others could see from what I could feel. Above it, me, functioning, copying, apparently fine. Below it, everything hidden, and this maps directly onto ID. Layer 1 is the surface, where it simply works. So, while every other student came to class alone, I came as two. Me, myself, and AI as my interpreter. AI never make me feel bad for asking, especially the Korean. It's always there. And AI doesn't get intimidated the way a person does. So from that day, I would ask first. Maybe I would go to human only for asking question instead of human. And there it is, the reduction beginning. Quiet, reasonable, and are pulling me away from Korean people. So this is the slide two. I call it as a relief. So AI become my first resort. With no guilt, AI don't make me a burden because I need to ask to someone who not comfortable in speaking English. And then the other story is then the class where we form groups to present. Everyone paired up. As usual, I sat in the front row. I watched my friends in the back and watching happen around me. And I didn't ask anyone to make a group with me because I assumed that they knew I couldn't communicate well in Korean. So instead of making a group, I usually do the group projects alone. Another story is this at that time when the graduate seminars. Usually people or my friends in Korean classmates are debating, joking, and laughing. But I was the one who never laughed in the class because my translation latency is lag behind. So when someone tell a joke, the whole room is laugh. But I cannot laugh because the translation is not ready. Here, AI can give you the words as a person says. However, it cannot give you why they were laughing. It delivers the text but never the context. The next is layer 3, the bottom of the iceberg, where the reduction finally shows itself as consequences. At that time, a professor kept asking me session after session, am I understand about the Korean lectures? And I always said, yes, the translation works, it's good. But the lecturer never know that only the translation was working, not me learning. Maybe on a good day, about 85% of the words I can translate, but the learning itself, maybe less than 20%. And I said, yes, I understand over and over again. At that time, after my confusion, I keep asking myself, am I actually learning anything? Or do I even deserve to be here? And then one day, walking to a seminar, my Korean friends asked me, why do you even go? You don't understand it. What are you doing there? In the seminar who is delivered in Korean. And the truth is, I agree with her. She indirectly says that this is seminar is not for you. That makes me sad. Here, AI had built me like a bubble, a moving bubble. I could see the word through it. It followed along. I feel almost like I belong, but I never once stepped outside of the bubble. And the bubble never joined the world I drift through. That was the cause. Self-efficacy and belonging slowly dissolving into loneliness. And the cruelest mechanism of all, AI gave me just enough to functioning to keep me comfortable in the in-between, so I never pushed through it. It handed me the illusion of functioning, and I mistook it for a life. So the discussion is the three layers are one story read at three depths. On the surface, AI work. One layer down, it works so well that the condition under which I have made the human simply fell away. And at the deepest layer, the condition for belonging were never met at all. And here is the claim. This is not AI failing. This is the threat. If AI had broken down, the broken down would have pushed me back toward people. But the danger was never breakdown. The challenge or the danger here is a competence so complete from AI that it makes me disappear relationally. And I would resist reading this as merely my personal adjustment problem. International students already occupy a liminal space they don't control, caught between home and house. So my lowered self-efficacy, my loneliness, these are not personal deficiencies. We can see it as structural effects. So what happens when social friction is continuously absorbed by a competent infrastructure like AI? And when that friction is gone, Victor Turner's precondition for communitas, for belonging, may simply no longer be met. The adaptation was functionally successful and relationally incomplete. So to close, when I arrived in South Korea, I could not read one line of Hangul, but AI made a nearly impossible life livable. It read my announcements. AI sat beside me in every class and carried me through the city. But the same help that let me function also removed my reason to reach for the people around me. I didn't have to ask, so I didn't ask. And slowly, without my noticing, the need to connect disappeared. What I lost was not the ability to survive, it was the chance to belong with others. This is what I mean by together, but alone. So post phenomenology taught me that every amplification carries a reduction. Victor Turner taught me that in between is meant to be a passage toward belonging. However, my story shows that technology can hold a person inside that passage instead of carrying them through. AI didn't do this by force. It did it by quietly absorbing the friction I needed. And thought and the thought I leave you with this is bigger than me. So I would like invite the readers and also the policymaker about this scholarship of international students. When a student can function through AI while no one even noticed they are alone, this is not always successful adaptation. Sometimes we can read this that it means the institution gave them a seat, but never a home. Thank you for listening to our research. So I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person, but I'm glad it reached you all the same.